Another thing that's going on here in the WWF at this time that I'd love to get your take on is pretty much the hottest storyline of this era. Jake's wife Cheryl has come into the company to add some drama to his rivalry with Rick Rude, and this storyline just goes through the roof when Rude starts airbrushing Cheryl's face onto his tights, and Jake would respond night after night by ripping the tights off of Rick Rude to a huge reaction. So, Ted, I know you and Jake are buddies. Did you spend a lot of time with Cheryl over the years?
I mean, I was there in Georgia when that's where he met her. He met her in Atlanta.
Ah.
That's where she's from, and so yeah, when they first started dating, I was right there. So I've known Cheryl from the beginning, and of course, they parted ways for a while, and it just tickles me that they're back together. I think it's great.
Incredible.
It really is. And again, Jake, you know, Jake's had a hard life. I think Jake has done incredibly well for having to overcome a lot of the personal issues he had in his life.
Incredible. I mean,
Yes.
really, it's a guy like that, you don't really expect a success story, from somebody who goes through what Jake went through in life, but man, he came out on the other side, and that speaks to his toughness of character.
Absolutely, man, and we've been friends for a long time, and it's like a lot of people say, well, who was your greatest match with, or who did you like to wrestle with the most, and I guess like I tell everybody this. I said it's almost an impossible question to answer when you realize how many times we wrestled. I mean, it's just like we didn't have a football game once a week. We wrestled every night, and and all these people. But at the top of the list is or near the top of the list, anyway, is Jake, because we, in terms of the psychology of pro wrestling, we come from the same background, and so it was easy for us to gel.
Man, the chemistry between the 2 of you was always very, very evident the second you 2 stepped into the ring together. Always fun to watch. And, folks, if you are unfamiliar with it, we did an episode of The Snake Pit where Jake was at or where Ted was a guest with Jake and I on that podcast, and they talked about their rivalry. So go into the archives of the Snake Pit podcast. You can listen to those 2 in real time talk about working together, which is
Yeah.
awesome experience. So Ted, we always hear as fans that wrestling is like a pirate ship back in those days, and one of the cardinal rules was to keep your wife off of the pirate ship. What did you make of Jake allowing Cheryl to be brought into the company?
Well, I mean, she was. I mean, not just brought into the company, but was like going to be his valet, so to speak, right?
Yep.
And it's kind of like I, if there was ever a time where say, okay, we can we can allow it under those circumstances, because if she's part of the show, I get it.
So fun hypothetical here, Ted. Is there ever a circumstance under which you would allow your wife to be involved in a storyline with the WWF when you were working there?
Uh, Probably not. I mean, well, I don't think that I would, but I say that because I know she wouldn't. I mean, she had no interest. She watched me and she told me, she goes, I know why, I know why you're one of the top guys after watching you. And she appreciated that, but never had any desire to be a part of the show.
That's pretty awesome kudos from the wife.
Yeah.
And last question about this rivalry with Rick Rude, and then we can move on. Like I said, he was having Cheryl's face painted onto his tights, and according to Jake, he was like, "I didn't really like it." He was like, it's one of those things that just happened. It was done, and then all of a sudden, I'm in a storyline with it. But what do you think? Is it taking things too far, or good heat, in your opinion?
Well, it depends if everybody's. It's kind of like this. If Rick Rude just did that and on his own and never asked Jake about it, then I would say that's out of line.
Hmm.
But if they discuss it and and Jake gave approval to him doing that as part of the ongoing show, then okay. But to yeah, it's like okay, if I saw my wife's face on somebody's tights, I'd knock them out.
Yep. Well, it certainly made the rivalry real and added a cool element to it, but yeah, it's I don't blame Jake for maybe not necessarily liking the whole thing.
Yeah.